Hello there, people of the internet. This is not an old video. I'm just out here at the old gun range visiting family. I wasn't gonna do any filming or video production, but I got some time to kill. So hey, let's walk out to the range, put up a camera, do some filming. I have with me my Mosin 9130 chambered in 7.62 by 54R. This design came about in the late 1800s, and it's pretty indicative of what was going on during the time period. Smokeless powder, full-powered bolt-action rifles, typically holding between 5 to 10 rounds of ammunition. That's basically what every military force was rocking during the time period where these were being made. And somebody brought something up that I found interesting enough to go ahead and make a video on. This right here, there is very little that will stop this rifle from firing. Like, there's a couple of things that might go wrong. You might damage your magazine or your feed lips, in which case you'll have to single load it. That's not going to actually stop it from firing. That's just going to stop it from really cycling. But all this is, there's a little spring around a firing pin and a little sear that catches, and like you pull the trigger, the sear goes down, the firing pin goes forward and sets off a cartridge. It is an extremely simple concept, and there's very little that can go wrong. And that's one of the things that this guy, I think he was a YouTube commenter. Anyway, I got it written down on a piece of paper. That's why I'm out here making this video. But he had told me that this right here was a essentially a bomb-proof rifle. Not necessarily actually bomb-proof. That's just a figure of speech and expression. But it's a rifle that is really hard to kill. In comparison to, say, a modern AR, we've gotten really good at building ARs here in the United States over the past like 10-15 years, and some of the even budget tier ones are actually extremely good. But if a spring is out of tolerance, or a gas tube is out of tolerance, or maybe there's just a little bit too much wiggle room where the gas tube goes in, so you get gas that comes out and you don't get the full gas pressure that's needed to cycle the action, or maybe the gas key inside the bolt carrier group isn't quite set up to where it needs to be. Maybe it's not staked in place. Maybe the gas block is not properly staked in place, or maybe it's just pinned and maybe those pins have wobbled out a little bit. Maybe there's some kind of issue. Bottom line, there's a lot that can go wrong in a modern gun that it just does not exist in something like this right here. As a matter of fact, the gas system is one of the reasons why I will fire corrosive ammo through my bolt actions all day long, but I won't fire it through a semi-automatic. Like, I got some corrosive 7.62 by 39 that I'm never going to touch unless I absolutely have to. And like, I don't want to have to disassemble my AK or my SKS and scrub off all the corrosive salt from the gas system. That's something I don't have to worry about with a bolt action rifle. Like, it's just a tube. It's just a tube with a metal barrel. All I do is I pour some hot water down that barrel to get rid of the salt. I dry it out, I oil it up. There you go. Don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff that you would have to worry about with those gas systems. There's just, like I said, a lot more that can go wrong with those gas systems inside of these rifles, or the various springs, like recoil springs and return springs, especially if you have like a long recoil operated system. Don't really see a whole lot of those nowadays, but they do cause issues. Or if you have ammunition that is like out of spec or out of design for what the rifle is supposed to be spec'd out to. Like, if you have underpowered, say 5.56 or 7.62 by 39, it's not going to cycle through your rifle. Or if you have overpowered ammunition, it's going to destroy your rifle. Like, the modern guns we use nowadays, although we are really good at doing it, they take very specific and particular kinds of ammunition in order to actually function. Otherwise, they don't function, or they function so hard that they end up breaking. Versus something like a Mosin, I can shove whatever power ammunition I want inside this thing, and short of shearing off the locking lugs, which would take a tremendous amount of force, there's really not much that could go wrong with how simple some of these rifle designs are. Not just the Mosin, but like the Mauser and the Enfield, although the Enfield is a little bit more complex than, say, the Mosin and the Mauser. But with how simple a lot of these designs are, there's just not much that can go wrong with them. And that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up. These are just some of the guns that are going to continue to run and run and run and run no matter what happens, versus something like an AR. You're going to have to replace springs over time. You're going to have to do something with the rifle to get it functional again, since it's a kind of DI, not actually a DI, but since it's a DI gun, there's going to be a lot of carbon buildup. You got to actually clean the thing because it cycles with a spring and gas pressure, and if everything's not exactly where it needs to be, that could cause issues with reliability, versus something like a manual operated system where you just kind of force your way through whatever mud and gunk that might be popping up with whatever system it is that you're dealing with. And on top of that, something like this 7.62x54R is significantly more powerful than, say, a 5.56. Now, you could always go with like an AR-10 in 308, but a lot of people argue AR-15 over AR-10. But it's just a cool concept, because this rifle literally is like bomb-proof, not actually bomb-proof, like I said, figure of speech. I'm bringing that up because a lot of people, they're like, that's not bomb-proof, a grenade will take it out or something like that. People take things on the internet way too literally, but what I mean is it is a very, very durable, nearly indestructible rifle, just because there's so little that can go wrong with it. Especially taking into consideration, I think I hit the concrete on that one, that was a big old cloud of dust. Especially taking into consideration that, like, the machining on this, like, this is not stamped sheet metal like a lot of your modern AKs are. I've seen a lot of modern AKs have a lot of issues because they get bends in their receiver or something like that, and things just get out of spec and it no longer cycles reliably, or it doesn't function properly. Or polymer ARs. I've seen a lot of polymer ARs get messed up. Actually, I saw one polymer AR get chewed up by a dog, and the guy had to go and replace it. Like, that's just not something that you have to worry about whenever you got yourself an old school machined rifle like what you have right here. Not quite as effective as a modern rifle, but the durability of this particular firearm dramatically outweighs that of some of the modern stuff that we have on the market, and that's something that I will vouch for. Thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Sounds like we got some weather coming in. I'm gonna go inside. Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.